It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Joan Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. And now here's your host, Geno Joan.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing? Yes, it's showtime. Pop, it is showtime. It is Tuesday, okay? And it is still March, so that means March is Women's History Month. You are watching the Geno Jones Daily Variety Show right here live on YouTube Monday through Friday. 6:30 p.m., right around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 if you're in Chicago, 3:30 if you're out in Los Angeles or Seattle, Washington. The Geno Jones Show today brought to you by my good friends Lockwood Outdoor Advertising. It is the only black-owned outdoor advertising company in the state of South Carolina. So for all of my allies, my white brothers and sisters who say, how can we help? What can we do? We want to be anti-racist and we really want to be an ally. Well, a great way to start is to support black businesses. And this is a wonderful business, Rodney Lockwood and Raquel Paget. So as a matter of fact, even if you're in another part of the country, if you have a good service that you can sell online, listen, you can see your name, your company's name up in lights in a big, beautiful digital billboard. So it's LockwoodOutdoor.com, LockwoodOutdoor.com. Thank you, Lockwood Outdoor Advertising, for being my sponsor on the Geno Jones Show. So listen, normally I have a monologue, so it's really like a short monologue, almost like cheating. It's really not a monologue, but it is just an update. The good news, apparently the House of Representatives is going to sign off on the COVID-19 relief bill, $1,400 checks for many Americans, those making under $75,000 and families making $150,000 or less. Much needed money. Relief in terms of making sure that people don't get kicked out of their apartments and lose their homes to foreclosure. Child care tax credit, $3,600. There's so many people that are hurting. There's so many people that are in such a deep hole who either lost their job or lost significant income, who are months behind in their rent and mortgage and energy bills, and there's just so much need. Food insecurity, and that's going to be addressed also in this bill. So as a matter of fact, Thursday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern, President Joe Biden is going to address the nation. Also, Thursday marks the 1 year mark when the World Health Organization officially declared COVID-19 a global pandemic. So, and if you're wondering what happened, the latest with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, I'm not a royal watcher. So the story today is that the Queen was like surprised, shocked. The British monarchy, there's racism. Read a history book, guys. Just read a history book. Colonization. What do you think colonization is? As a matter of fact, this country was colonized in 1607. And in 1619, the first Africans were brought here to be slaves. So no history lesson today, just a brief update, because it is Women's History Month. Speaking of history, different kind of history lesson today. Yesterday was International Women's Day, so I am so honored to have today as a very special guest, a phenomenal woman who is the personification of breaking barriers for women. She was the first female engineer graduate at California State Polytech. She was the first African-American program manager at McDonnell Douglas. She went on to Boeing to achieve many firsts, including, as a matter of fact, she recently retired as vice president and chief engineer at Boeing, but she's got something else going on right now. It's like the retirement was pretty short-lived. So she is coming on. We're going to talk about the importance that specifically people of color and African Americans get the COVID-19 vaccine. It is so important. There's so much misinformation out there, and we have data to really reinforce why it's so important that everyone especially everyone of color, get a COVID-19 vaccine. So ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to bring to the show, full disclosure, she is a near and dear friend to me and my family, her family. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to bring to the show Joan Robinson Berry. Hello, my friend. There you are on camera.
Yes, how are you? It's so good to see you. And you forgot to tell folks I was the president of my third grade class twice.
Oh,
You know what? You forgot to share that. But I wasn't the first female engineer for my school, but an African American person. And by the way, it felt like the Hidden Figures 40 years ago because they had no girls' restrooms in the engineering department. They do now. But I have to go over to the business section for that whole movie. Hidden Figures was definitely live and well during my time. I am so honored to be on your show. You have had this visions for so long, and the information that you're bringing to our community is so valuable. You're changing lives, you're changing perspectives, and we sure appreciate you being in our community. You're our hero. So I'm just honored to be on the show today, and just to have a conversation. Let's talk.
All right, Joan.
What's up?
All right, Joan, you always make me blush. Don't make me blush on camera on my show now. My mother's watching. She'll be like, Jeannie, it's all right, baby. You can go ahead and blush. So listen, I was just telling everybody that you had recently retired, but your retirement is short-lived. So you've got a new company, and this new company has really produced some very important data. I want you to speak on it, and I believe you're also working with the National Action Network. So why don't you explain? Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Tell everybody about your new business and this data that you guys, no one else in the country, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you guys are the only company in the country that has done this research or compiled this data.
Well, I think there's been a number of survey instruments out there, but I think according to the National Action Network that we actually sponsored the study, it was one of the largest longitudinal survey of the African American community. And the company, our company, which is a female, and we're talking about women's history, girl power.
Right.
It's a female-owned company. We're really about analytics and research, data science, because we're about the science. I'm not a doctor. I'm a scientist. I'm a leader, and in the technology side of the business. And so we have both a profit and a nonprofit business. Our goal is to get more people of color, African Americans, in the data science, data engineering, artificial intelligence, big data, because we know that data is a new currency. Oracle didn't want to buy TikTok because of the cool videos. It was because of data. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But let me tell you a little bit about the survey. 77,000 plus African Americans across the country. And we were really stumped on why 44% of African Americans reported that they will not take the survey. And so we presented this data to, as you all know, Dr. Marcella Nunez-Smith, who's Biden's leader for the COVID vaccine. And she addressed some of the interesting misconceptions that folks cited on why they didn't want to take the vaccine. And I want to share some of them.
Please.
Well, 47% of the respondents had pre-existing conditions. And they said, well, we have pre-existing conditions, so therefore we're not going to take the vaccine. Well, really, it was designed for folks that have pre-existing conditions, because you shared in your show just the other day that we're 3 times more likely to die.
Yes.
Well, I want to say, check with your doctor. Don't believe anybody. Don't all of the social media. Ask your doctor. And if your doctor said you should take it, take it. And I think it was a real funny comedy skit where Chris Rock says, when you see all the rich folks that don't look like you button in front of the line with a lot of money, you better follow them. So, that's my mindset.
Right. You better try to butt the line if you can, get in the front
butt
of
the
it.
line, yeah. But, this is a family business thing, Geno, because,
Wonderful.
We have always been about family and about our community. And if you're not helping your auntie, grandma,
Yes.
neighbor figure out how to sign up to get the vaccine, because if you're not literate in the getting online and signing up for this one, and in some cases, in our South Carolina community, Some folks don't even have access to broadband.
Yes.
So we need to be totally focused on helping our community get signed up. If you need to drive them over in those long lines, drive them over in those long lines, knock on their door, because it's really important that we take this vaccine. And the reason why is that they have new variants coming out. And
Yes.
I have to tell you, I took my shot, Geno.
Did you?
I had both of them.
Oh, wow. Well, so let me piggyback on your story, and I know I've shared this with my viewers, but for those who may be new viewers to the show, so it'll be 2 weeks, so a week and a half. It was last Thursday. So my mom got her second. She got the Pfizer vaccine. She got her second shot.
Yeah.
So, but the first shot she got, it was weird. I had a flashback because, so she called me, she was like, Jeannie, she said, you'll be proud of me. She said, I went and I got my shot, my vaccine. She said it didn't hurt. She said, I didn't get a bump on my arm. I didn't feel anything. She said, I felt fine. I sat there for 15 minutes. I didn't have any side effects. The next day I called her, Joan, and she was like, I'm fine, Jeannie. I feel good. I didn't, no weakness or, kind of maybe feverish. Some people have some side effects, which are normal. That's your body's immune system reacting to the vaccine. Like, okay, good. You're here now. Let's get to work. It's working. But she didn't have any of that. Second vaccine last Thursday, none of that. Now, let me just, I've got to frame it this way. Now, my mom is in her 70s. My mother, her health profile, at night, she needs oxygen. She has COPD. She has lupus, and she has her hypertension. It kind of goes and comes. So if my mother's health profile, and she didn't have, now I know everybody's metabolism and immune system is different, but so here you have a black woman in her 70s with multiple pre-existing conditions, multiple comorbidities, and she didn't have any symptoms. So that's just another testimonial. And here you are, Joan. You also said that you went and got the vaccine.
I got the vaccine. Chris got the vaccine, and I have to tell you, my arm was, because I'm not a bodybuilder, was like, okay, I got a little sore, like a couple of hours. And the second shot, I didn't have any flu-like symptoms. Felt a little fatigued, but I don't, it's because I work a lot, but no major side effects. And you just need to know, if you do have some flu-like symptoms, it's working.
Yes.
That's what it's all about. And the misinformation, they said, well, I'm going to wait and see. I want you all to know that 10% of the clinical trials, Black folks were involved in it. And then folks all around the world that looked like you, and the number was even higher. And so far, no one's died. But I can tell you, we've had over 50,000 plus Black folks that have died from COVID. And so the bottom line is, you may think about it in this way. If you just get the shot and you don't die from COVID, that is a blessing. Take it. And it's not an experiment. And by the way, people say, well, it was too short for the development. Well, they've been working on the mRNA for over 11 years.
Yes.
And it was under the Obama administration, and there's Black doctors and scientists that are part of the entire process. And they finally got these messengers to kind of, bundle this protection for us to activate our immune system. And it's been going on for over a decade. So it's not brand new. The bureaucracy was fast tracked, but not the research and the whole technology around this. Now, if we can get folks to the moon, right?
Thank you.
And we can get and we will be getting footsteps on Mars by Boeing, not Elon Musk first. It'll be Boeing, but we definitely come up with a vaccine for folks. And I'm just encouraging as many folks to take this. I've heard so many, well, I don't want to be the experiment. I don't want to take this, X, Y, and Z. We owe it to our community to make ourselves safer,
Absolutely.
And we can't call out folks and say, hey, we're disadvantaged, because the data suggests that we're the ones that are not in line taking it. We need to be focused on that. And the equity of the vaccine in terms of the rollout, I've been impressed. We've had some hiccups in South Carolina, but when you see that the churches are offering it,
Good.
and various programs and the radio station, I think, and the 56, minority African American organizations that got together to be focused on this one.
Great.
That's impressive for our community. It's not perfect, but I tell you, we're doing everything humanly possible to motivate folks to really take the vaccine when it's your turn and be focused. And I want to say that I love the fact that we did this based on science and data.
And let me
Because
well, go ahead, Joan, and then I want to
no, I
piggyback
want you
on.
to I want to and so just take it. Okay, go ahead.
No, no,
Piggyback.
no, no. I didn't mean to cut you. I just wanted to piggyback on, and I want you to finish, but I wanted to piggyback on something, an important point, because you talked about. I had a conversation this morning with a black woman who I know, who's an author, and then we have another colleague, and the conversation came up about they came up with this vaccine too soon, and I told her, for those who watch the show on a regular basis, Joan, you might have seen this episode. There's a doctor out of Chicago. He is one of the top public health and infectious disease experts in America. His name is Dr. Damon Arnold. He was the Illinois Director of Public Health for several years back in the mid 2010s. So he talked about exactly the point that you made in terms of, this vaccine, they made it too fast. No, this technology has existed for over a decade. Scientists and researchers. So let's talk about researchers. So the Moderna vaccine, one of the main developers is a black woman, Dr. Corbett.
It's Girl Power Week month. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
So that's it. Right. And she's brilliant. She is brilliant.
Yes. Yes.
So it's not like, and she focused on making sure that the clinical trials, had black folks in it. Yeah. So, you need to trust that. But let me just tell you why I love it, Geno. It's liberating to be vaccinated. Yes. They just came out, the CDC came out and said, hey, if you're vaccinated and you have folks in your circle that are vaccinated, no need to wear a mask, just hang out. And oh, by the way, you can, I finally get to go see my mother-in-law, who's 96 years old, and hug her neck. Yeah. I'm an extrovert. I get my energy from people, and not being around them has just not been a good thing. So I feel liberated. I feel like a monkey's been, pulled off of my neck, and I feel like I can just hug folks. And the more folks that get vaccinated, the better I'll feel, because I can get back into my hug therapy, right?
Well, listen, I'm a hugger too, so I cannot wait as soon as I can get my vaccine. As a matter of fact, I was on the phone last night, Damaris and I, and as soon as I can get my vaccine, I will. As a matter of fact, my annual is next week, so I've been bugging my doctor like crazy. Hey, listen, I got to get this vaccine because I'm not going around my mother until I have been vaccinated. And I haven't been able to hug my mother, Joan. And as a matter of fact, true story, the weekend before basically the nation was shut down, I went back home in March. So it was around the first weekend in March. I took Allie back. She visited the college that she's attending now. That was the last time I got to hug my mother. I have never gone that long and not hugged my mother. So I cannot wait. So I'm with you. I know exactly how you feel. Was there any other interesting data? I'm sure it was that you want to share that came out of the study and the research you guys did in terms of just dispelling the myths when it comes to our community.
And, a lot. We really asked the question, so what would motivate you to take the vaccine? Folks want to do exactly what you just shared. They want to hug their mothers. They want to attend church again. They want to go to activities. That's a motivator. That was, 75% of the folks said that was a motivator. Another group said that, we said, well, who would influence you to take this vaccine? And just guess, who do you think it was? Number one.
Family member? Or celebrity? Or somebody in church? Who was it?
I thought it was going to be my first answer because, most of us love the Lord, we're churchgoers. It was going to be their pastor. It was not. They were very low on the list. It was their doctor.
Why did I? Yes. Who else?
It was
should
their
you
doctor.
Yeah.
And so And so, and by the way, Dr. Fauci too, and so so I had an opportunity based on that data, because we want to, change the whole mindset around not taking the vaccine.
Yes.
We met with Roper and others, and a group of them. There's 847 doctors that are in part of this consortium out in our region, and I asked them, how many of you, when you're coming to get, when a patient is coming to get their physical, do you say, and please take your vaccine, and here's some fact sheet, for you?
Hmm.
It was silent.
Wow.
So the new movement now is doctors are coming out now. And when you go in, and by the way, I want all the listeners on this phone, any of you that are having a upcoming appointment with your doctor, test that. And then if they don't ask you, they said one of the most important motivators for folks to take the vaccine is getting some advice from their doctor. You may want to incorporate in your conversation when you're talking to your patients. And even though we're focused on African Americans, this is good for everyone
Yeah.
in the country. They trust their doctor's opinion. They do what their doctors say. And then the next one is, of course, it's not just a family member, it's a Black woman voice.
Yeah, I
People
believe that.
trust Black women, their opinion on what we should do. So, sisters out there online, they trust you.
Yeah.
Encourage them. You take it. Read the facts. Don't be misinformed, and you can influence our village, to
Moms,
help.
yep, moms, grandmas, aunts,
Mm,
and even sisters.
yep.
I mean, like, biological sisters. So I've always said that mothers just have a unique status in all communities, but specifically in our community. So that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Right. And I know that there is, and a lot of folks said, I'm telling you to take the vaccine, but I want you to talk to your doctor because we don't know where you are. If, there's different answers if you're pregnant or you're on chemotherapy.
Yes.
The best advice I can give you is make sure that you're talking to your healthcare provider. Again, because one size doesn't fit all. But most of the data and everyone I talk to, and I have pre-existing, conditions, and I have family members that do as well. They've all done great. And what a blessing it was, four of my closest friends were part of the clinical trial.
Oh,
They
wow.
give either the shot or the placebo. All of them believed they had the shot because they had a little bit mild symptoms on the second shot.
Hmm.
So they believed they had it, and they're doing fine. And it's been almost a year for them.
Wonderful.
So, that's good news. And again, there's no evidence that anybody's dying. Some people have allergic reactions, but they haven't died. Just like when if you're allergic to gloves, plastic gloves or whatever, you can have that one. But again, that's why it's really important that you work with your healthcare provider to really understand the impact to you personally.
Joan, what was the inspiration? It probably seems like an obvious answer, but what was the inspiration for you, not just forming the company, but just doing this research and compiling this data?
Well, let me just say it's about big data. Let me just say, I ran the 787 site, and then, I was blessed to get a big promotion and had 55 sites, and I did a lot of analytics. I had about, a couple hundred data scientists that worked for me, and there were no Black folks in that portfolio.
Wow.
And so then I began doing personal recruitments because, I wanted to change the entire pipeline, strategy for it. And I found that we're not in that area. And we all know that data is a new currency. I've told you that before. Big data will control everything from the music we listen to what we buy, how we diagnose illnesses, how we learn. And let me just tell you how we drive. Now I have a Tesla in there, and they're gonna, when these self-driving cars come out, or the autonomous vehicle, it's all gonna be about data. Data is the new currency, and we need to be part of it. And when I looked at some of the algorithms, now let me tell you about what data science is. Let me break it down. It's a use of scientific methods, processes, algorithms, and systems to extract knowledge and insights for many structural and unstructured data. And data is mining you can actually teach a machine to learn and to be predictive. And so when you think about when you're typing your text and you type, hell, before you put LLO, hello, it's already saying you're going to
Yeah.
put it. That's artificial intelligence. And when you're going on Wayfair and you're trying to say, I want a rug, before you can even get back to your regular browser, 9 companies are saying, hey, look at my rugs, look at that, my rugs. All of that data is really important. And if you haven't watched the Social Dilemma by Netflix about how they control the data and data mining and analytics control how you think, you need to think about that. And everyone listening to this need to really understand how data has been really manipulated. And there is bias, Geno, in algorithms. I was part of, I was thinking I was getting a good deal. I bought a house, a fourplex in Long Beach, California, 30 years ago, with my cousin. And we had perfect credit. Everything was good. And we thought we had a good interest rate. And so 10 years later, we get this note from this lawyer and they said, you're part of a class action lawsuit. Do you want to get paid? And I'm like, what are you talking about? They said, when you put African American on your application, you paid over 1% more on your particular loan because there's bias in that algorithm. Just think about facial recognition. There have been Black folks arrested because they said that, through facial recognition, they identified them wrong. And you just heard about the sister that was, fired at Google for calling it out about the unethical behavior in, algorithms and science. It is very important that we understand that this data, which can be used to improve productivity, be predictive, to have better insights on your customers, to be more exact, is wonderful. But if it's biased, if it's wrong, it's a lethal weapon. And unfortunately, people of color in our community has been impacted and harmed by the bias and the algorithms that are set up. So I decided to launch a nonprofit that is going to build the pipeline to get more African Americans in this one, because if we're not at the table, we're on the menu. And so we need to be able to shape algorithms. And I don't know if you remember back in the day when they first came out with these sensors for washing your hands, when you put your hand out there, no water. That's because they didn't have your pigment in that algorithm and that sensor.
Yes.
And so, and when we're not, building a pipeline of data scientists and folks that can help shape this data, we're going to continue to be the victim in this space. And I don't want that to happen. So I'm trying to grow the pipeline, but more importantly, be the example that we are smart. And so our data analytic company is now being called by companies around, the world on doing some analysis. They want to see the diversity of thought in that. And so that's why I did that, Geno. And it's inspiring because there's so many smart young folks that get it naturally.
And listen, and I want to speak to that. I want to speak to the young people, Joan. I want you to talk to me, talk to everybody. What kind of conversation should we be having with our nieces and nephews, sons or daughters? What should we be exposing them to? What is it that you would like to see? Because like you said, we got to build that pipeline. But I know we need to start early. We need to start early when kids are, not even in middle school, in elementary school, even before that. So what would you say for us to, what kind of conversation should we be having, and what should we be exposing our young people to?
Well, you brought up a great question, as you always do. You're amazing. I'm on the board for Cradle to Career, and that is really trying to change the academic performance of our community, the greater Charleston area. And that by the time you're 3 years old, 80+% of your brain is already, matured. Mm-hmm. So you need to do everything, and actually prenatal, making sure that you have a healthy baby, and then introduce that baby from 0 to 3, everything you possibly can. And don't just give the girls dolls, give them Legos and other things so they can understand spatial kind of situations where we always give the boys the GI Joes and the Legos and things like that, and we give the girls the fluffy stuff. If you want to develop that brain and that integration around math and science, you need to start early. And then making sure, and by the way, math is not hard. It's an algorithm, and you can practice and train yourself to do that. Language arts it's a little bit more challenging. And then we can't always just want to be in the social side of careers. And by the way, data science, you don't, if you have like a basic education, you can take many courses to become a data science. You can upscale your career and your wages. These are high paying jobs. Google data scientists, data engineering, and look what they're paying for versus other careers. Now, I'm not trying to down other careers, but when they're desperate in the industry to have these skill sets, follow the skill, because you can do a lot of things in data. It could be in music. Part of what Geno's doing is part of data science, because he's doing statistical analysis to do to have predictive conversations in this activity. It could be in the all sorts of careers, so you can integrate data science. By the way, Stanford has a great courses anywhere from 3 months to 9 months. Cornell, and let me tell you a great story.
Wow.
One of my mentees, brilliant IT person that left a company, and she said, I just want to upscale my skill. And so she went to Cornell online, 100% online.
Wow.
Was only 6 courses, got a certificate in data science. And oh, by the way, she got a scholarship from the Goodwill Institute, and it was paid for. And now she's in a position to have, really great career choices in that space. So it's not hard. Matter of fact, I'm going to work with Reverend Rivers, and he's going to start an ambassador program for early career folks who have an interest in data science, so we can grow the community and then have clubs. The National Society of Black Engineers want to grow the pipeline of STEM professionals. And just like Little League, where you go to practice, we need to create communities where we can practice our technology in our computer labs. And a couple of them are coming up around the greater Charleston area. So that's my opinion. We just need to fish where the fish are.
And let me say this, Joan. So I got to say this here. All right, for folks that's watching, all right, when you hear terms like STEM and algorithms, all right, this ain't nerdy, this ain't corny, this ain't like acting like nobody else. Because think about it. I know my daughters, and I know your family, our kids are so naturally tech savvy. You can give them an iPhone, you would think that they've been working for Apple for 20 years. You can give a kid 3, they can grab an iPhone or Android or Samsung and operate that thing, and you like, wow, it's just, I was having that conversation the other day. It's instinctive for our young people. So it would be natural to go into these fields and make you some good money.
Right, and start just buying the games, designing the games.
Yes.
Because when you think about, how they have the scenarios in the games, they're not from our village. Create our own games. Become, gamers.
I know.
And design them. And another thing I want to introduce is drones are going to be everywhere, Geno.
Heck, they're everywhere now.
If they're able to navigate those games, they can navigate and become a pilot for the drones. Wow. And that's going to be 50% of the factories of the future are going to be automated. Program those robots. If you, instead of having to hurt your back, go into the programming it. If you've been programming and working those games, you can work that robot to put, parts together and do creative things. We are naturally gifted in this space. We spend more money on games as a culture than any other ethnic group. We need to flip the switch and design them versus just being the consumer.
Joan, you are speaking the truth, because my son-in-law and my oldest daughter, they came and stayed with us for the holiday. But he got on this, I think it's Call of Duty. This thing it's I guess you can kind of add to it, and it was just amazing. I almost got hooked. I'm like, what? Wow, what is this? He had a mansion in Vegas and a company. All this is in this game. I couldn't believe it. So, but
absolutely,
for that generation, for the millennials, especially our Generation Z, Zillennials, just technology is just, it's like breathing for them. So it's just
Exactly.
natural, but we need people like you to kind of just give us some guidance and direction and make it cool. I think what we in the media and what we as a culture, we need to celebrate it and make it cool. Just like LeBron said, look, hey, look, if you got a 45-inch vertical, yeah, you might want to go to the NBA, but everybody doesn't have that. But
Right.
you love games. If you're playing a Call of Duty, heck, design your own version even better than that. Or create, get into research, come up with the cure for cancer. It's just the future, artificial intelligence. The future
Yes.
is so unlimited, and our kids just have a natural gift when it comes to technology. We see it. Trust me. Any parent or grandparent watching now, we can't even. We get a new phone, we don't know what to do with it. You call your daughter, son, or your grandchild, or niece and nephew. Can you set my phone up? Less than 5 minutes.
Right, 5 minutes, you're there. Now, I have to tell you something embarrassing, and I'm a technologist, but some of these games, Gino, my 7-year-old grandchild, it's called Roblox or something like that.
Okay.
She said, oh, jump on my back. Let me take you through X, Y, and Z. So she's teaching me how to do this. And oh, by the way, I'm going to learn because I believe you should learn something new every day.
Yes.
Every day. And don't let these young folks outdo us. We can get on those games
That's
and,
right.
play. And so don't just say, oh, go play your game. Get in there with them.
Yeah,
And
learn.
and be a part of this technology movement. But the downside though, there's a dark side of this.
Yes.
Again, the wrong
Let's talk
data
about
and
it.
bias. But then we still have 195,000 families that don't have access to the internet. There's still a great digital divide.
Right.
So folks that are hearing this, they're not inspired because they said, Joan, and Geno, we don't even have internet in our house,
Right.
or we can't afford that. And I know that there is a lot of legislation and now a lot of money that's looking to actually fix that.
Yes.
And so we need to be. You're always asking us to be, politically savvy. We need to get and the communities that are raising their voice, that are stomping their feet, are getting access first. You heard that story. Greasy wheel gets, the oil first.
Yes, my grandmother used to say, she said, the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Yes, yes.
You're
And
right.
and so we need to make sure that our community is stomping their feet and asking for access to technology. And one of the gaps is putting these solar cells out. There's, we run out of room in areas. If there's rural farmers that are listening to this conversation, make your land available for a cell tower so they have no excuse to putting these, these technology or these cell towers in rural areas. We have land, we have an opportunity. We need to step up in our community to make sure that everybody has access. And oh, by the way, if you're not on a computer by the time you're 3, you're already obsolete.
Yeah.
And your grades actually, when you're competing with folks that have technology and you don't, you automatically are at a disadvantage, because when they're doing their research paper and they're going on the internet to get the facts, and you may not even have access to a library, you're just getting what you can in the book. So we need to create the competitive advantage for all people, and so that's an important mission that I have as well.
Well, Joan, listen, first of all, I can't thank you enough for being my guest, for the education and technology and explaining to everybody in a simple way, what are algorithms, but like you said, they affect everything and really
Everything you do.
and they study
Yes.
it. It's like they study, correct me if I'm wrong, it's almost they study your habits. It's like a psychological profile. You talked about it.
Deep learning.
You can go to a site and maybe purchase something, and then you come back and you get on your phone or your computer, and all of a sudden an ad pops up for that company or a similar company. They're like, wait a minute, what the?
What, or they've watched what you bought. That's why they want up your data. And so then when you get your receipt, it says, next time you come, you can get your milk for 50 cents off. I mean, automatically they know that data is going to control everything. And we got to be part of that mix, Geno.
Absolutely.
Part of that mix.
So you have a permanent home, even though you knew this without me telling you this. You have a permanent home as a contributor and a family member here on my show. Please come back. As a matter of fact, if there's any other information, people can learn more about your company, especially young people, in terms of really getting involved, like Joan said. I mean, because you're gaming. I mean, technology and science is natural to you with these apps and on your on your phones and smartphones and tablets. So make some money on it, or start your own company.
Absolutely.
And let people
Yes.
instead of people making money off you, you can make money off other people. So if
Absolutely.
people want to find out more about your company, or if you want to give any social media information out, feel free to share it right now.
Well, so we have the nonprofit is Get Data Lingual, and that is when you think of bilingual, you think about data lingual, and then our for-profit is data analytics. So thank you for having me on this wonderful call and wonderful show. I'm looking forward to getting my polo shirt with the Geno Jones show so I can have my official outfit. So we'll have to work on that one. So
I'm receiving that. From your lips to God's ears. I'm receiving that. I'm receiving that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Joan is a phenomenal woman. Her resume, her achievements speaks for itself. But she's an even better person. And that's saying
Thank you, Geno.
because listen, the receipts, the sister got mad receipts. Very few people in America got the receipts in the resume, but she's an even better person and a true friend.
Geno.
No, thank you. So, and looking forward to having you on again sometime soon. Thank you, Joan.
Okay.
All
Listen,
right.
have a blessed day.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Joan Robinson Barry. She is, like I said, she's phenomenal. But listen to my young people and even our adults. Listen, man, like Joan said, data, and it is the future. It really is. Because people are, every time we get on the phone and we go to a website or we make a purchase or we go to an app, people are compiling data about us, our habits, and what we believe in, our ideology, what our preferences are, what we like, what we hate, what we don't like, all of that. So we got to get in on this action because people are making billions off of our data. So we need to make billions off of ourselves and then make billions off other people's data. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you. God, most of all, thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Daily Variety Show, Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 in Chicago or Houston, Texas, Memphis, Tennessee, 3:30 if you're out there on the West Coast in the city of Angels, Los Angeles, or the Bay Area, San Francisco, Portland, Oregon, where my daughter is, or up in Seattle, Washington. Thank you. Thank you very much. The Geno Jones Show brought to you, sponsored by Lockwood Digital Advertising. Yes, Lockwood Digital Advertising. It's LockwoodOutdoor.com. Lockwood Digital Advertising. Maybe you have a company like Joan, and you want your company's name to be up in lights where people can be driving along the highway and just driving down major thoroughfares and see and learn about your business. As a matter of fact, this is the only black-owned digital outdoor advertising company in the state of South Carolina. So we are all about supporting black businesses, because if we don't support black businesses, we can't expect anyone else to do it. And so far, ain't too many other folks done it. So it's up to us to save us for ourselves. So let's make that happen, all right? LockwoodOutdoor.com. That's LockwoodOutdoor.com. Shout out to the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show, Mr. Markel Bailey on Instagram, Kel B. Cuttin, KelBeCuttin. And shout out to Mr. Bruce Gage. He is the official wardrobe consultant and stylist for my show. Check him out on Instagram, Bruce Gage, Gage, Bruce Gage, Gage. Also, he's got Flyball the store. It is a store online, soon to be a brick and mortar store. So I'll bring him back on to talk about that. But he's going to have a brick and mortar, like a physical store, especially after COVID. Flyball the store. I love baseball. Would have been a baseball player. Had a chance to play pro baseball. I love the Negro Leagues, the old Negro Baseball League, Satchel Paige, and you got Josh Gibson and When Hank Aaron was 18, he was in the Negro Leagues, and Willie Mays before he went to the major leagues. So just it's such rich history. Some of the greatest baseball players ever played in the Negro Leagues. So Flyball the store, they have T-shirts, they have jackets. They had jackets. They may still have some. Ladies, they have dresses. They have baseball caps too, sweaters. So they have a line of clothing that's revolving around the Negro Baseball League, Flyball. It's the brand, flyballthestore.com. But also check out Mr. Bruce Gage. He'll have you. He's like a year and a half ahead of the fashion trend. So what you'll see in his Instagram page, his store, his studio in Chicago, he's got photos. You'll see that in all these other stores in about a year and a half. All right. I want to thank everybody for watching. I love you. I really, really, really do. And love is an action word. So before you tell somebody you love them, show them. Let your actions and your behavior on a consistent basis say, I love you. Because love really is. It's a verb. It's an action word. And Mother, I love you so much. Thank you. I know you're watching. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Hump Day edition of the Geno Jones Show, live right here. And go back and binge watch right now. You can go back and binge watch previous episodes. Great guests. I was talking about Dr. Damon Arnold. If you got any questions, if you really want to know about how this vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine, was developed, and there's a lot of misinformation. There's more misinformation coming from Russia. I just saw a story about that tonight. So you want facts, not fictions. You don't want fiction, you want fact, all right? You want truth, not rumors and lies. Check out Dr. Damon Arnold. 2 episodes you'll see with me and Dr. Damon Arnold talking about, he's one of the top public health and infectious disease doctors in America. Also, conversation with Lettucey, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis talking about their soon-to-be-released new album. This is supposed to be coming out this month. Jam and Lewis, Volume 1. R&B icon Lenny Williams, our R&B icon Chris Jasper from the Isley Brothers. You got R&B icon Richie Calloway from Midnight Star. This Future Soul new artist Gene Noble. He's made a song called Matching Tattoos. So we got and just some of my special commentary, my monologue. You don't miss, because some of the monologues are always fire, but some of the days the monologue was like a blowtorch, because I had to heat some folks up. So I want you to check out, go back and binge watch all my previous episodes. Once again, thank you for watching, everybody. Once again, thank you to my guest, Joan Robinson Berry, who's got her own new company, Data Lingual Analytics. And thank you for the information. Thank you for the data that you passed on in terms of African Americans and how we really feel about the vaccine. Shout out to the National Action Network and Reverend Al Sharpton, who I believe there was a collaboration, a collaborative event, or effort, I should say, a collaborative effort with Jones Company, Data Lingual Analytics, along with the National Action Network. All right, everybody. Tomorrow, Wednesday, me and you, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Until then, thank you for watching. Be blessed.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of The Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.